So, good day everyone. Today we will be talking about the kinds of biological control agents. Natural enemies are the agents used in biological control. They are the fundamental resource with which biological control success is achieved. Agents come from an array of taxonomic groups and have diverse biological and population properties. These characteristics play a large role in the success or failure associated with the use of any particular group of natural enemies. So, example of natural enemies is what we call insect parasitoids. Parasitoids are arthropods that kill their host, unlike true parasites such as fleas or tapeworm, and which are able to complete their development on a single host, unlike predators, which generally most consume several prey to complete their development. Parasitoids have been the most common type of natural enemy introduced for biological control of insects. Most used for biological control are in the orders Hymenoptera and to a lesser degree Diptera. So as we can see in the picture, this is an example of insect parasitoids. So in the table, these are the number of times parasitoids have been established in biological control. Introduction program in families from which at least one species has been released. Now let's move on to the predators of arthropods and other invertebrates. Predaceous habit is extremely widespread among insects and can be found in most orders and large number of families. Predaceous insects have been introduced for control of immigrant pests, and native predators are of major importance in the suppression of both native and immigrant herbivores. Group of predators most frequently recognized as significant for pest suppression in agriculture and forestry include some 32 families shown in the table below. So here are the some important families of predaceous arthropods, example of which are Thysanoptera or thrips, and true bugs, beetles, and nerve-wing insects. Also true flies and mites or spiders. Vertebrate predators which attack insects pests are diverse and include insectivorous birds, small mammals, lizards, amphibians, and fish, some of which have been used in the past as agents of biological control. Wild birds and animals are generally not used as agents for introduction against immigrants' pests. Indigenous species are believed to be important source of mortality for some pests, particularly in stable environments such as forests. Fish, in contrast, have mainly been utilized through augmentative release into water bodies for the suppression of mosquito larvae. So this is an example of a predaceous arthropods attacking a larva. Now let's talk about the pathogens and predators of vertebrates. So when sufficiently selective agents can be identified for safe use, pathogens are sometimes employed to suppress pest vertebrates. Agents that would be unacceptable in settled areas may be acceptable in oceanic island, where no human settlement exists to create conflict between suppression of feral population of the species and husbandry of domestic populations of the same species. Now, for example, the release of feline pathogen for control of feral house cats on unsettled islands which are home to seabird colonies is acceptable. But in other area, use of this pathogen would be unacceptable. Other vertebrate pathogens employed for biocon include myxoma virus of rabbits and some helminths that attack rodents. And vertebrate species that are predators of vertebrates are rarely sufficiently specific to allow their safe introduction to areas outside their natural range. However, some native vertebrates have been successfully enhanced through habitat modification or provision of nesting boxes, as for example the barn owl Tyto alba for control of rats on oil palm plantations in Malaysia. So these are the barn owl used to control rats in Malaysia.
Pathogens and nematodes attacking arthropods. So there are many types of insect pathogens nga pwede nato gamiton as a biological control, which includes bacteria, fungi, viruses, and protozoas. First, we have the bacteria. So, bacteria is one of the most successful nga gibrought up sa commercial use para i-control ang insect pest. So, there are three species nga included sa genus Bacillus na species nga pwede gamiton sa pag-control sa pest. First, we have the Bacillus populae. Second is Bacillus thuringiensis. And the third one is Bacillus pericus. So they have said that bacteria is more recommendable sa kanang mga paggamit sa commercial use instead of viruses. It's because some of the species of the bacteria is kanang mabuhi na sila through fermentation. Dili pareha sa virus nga kailangan pag expensive culturing of live host para makabuhi og virus. Next is viruses. So there are at least 16 families of viruses, and one of them included is the Baculoviridae. So kaning Baculoviridae mao ni siya ang mas gi-focus gyud sa commercial use kay mao man gid siya ang kanang pinaka makahatag og kanang little effect sa host nga iyang target nga maka-cause siya disease sa katong nga target. And also viruses are known to be successfully marketed sa market kay mahal ang pag-production, and also dapat siya effect nga inarrow down gid niya ang iyang mga host nga target gid niya. So here in figure 2.4, this is an example of virus attacking insect. So here we have the clements being infected with nuclear polyhedrosis virus. So here for the third one, we have the fungi. So porket fungi, dili tanan mo attack og insect pest. So the ones that mo attack yung insect pests are specifically in the family of Endomopterosae. So under the subdivision of Zygomycotina or Deuteromycotina. So we have here an example of fungi, which is the Zuptora radicans nga gi-introduce siya sa Australia para i-suppress ang Luzerne aphid. Next here we have the protozoa. So here we have an example of protozoa, which is the microsporidians and the eugregarians. So some protozoa also are included nga gigamit siya for microbial insecticides. And there are species of Nosema nga gigamit siya pag-control, ay gi-consider siya nga potential biological control para mo kontra sa grasshopper and maize. So aside from pathogens, we also have nematodes that can be used as biological control. So nematodes under the family of Steiner Nematidae and Heterorhabditidae. So these two family are mutually associated with bacteria because they kill their host through septimidia. So some nematodes are also like parasitoids nga they kill their host through their growth. So in addition, there are also nematodes nga gigamit para i-control ang mga immigrant pest, which is one of the example is the Bedingla sericidicula, which is introduced siya sa Australia para i-control ang European wood wasp. And the other one example is the Steiner Nema septirisae. Gi-introduce siya sa Florida para i-control ang immigrant pests nga mole crickets. So aside from pathogens and nematodes, we can also use herbivores to attack weeds. So there are some examples of weed attacking herbivores like butterflies, moth, and beetles. So, nganong gipili man ang weed para herbivores para i-attack ang mga weed because they have a high degree of specialization and also taas silang rapid rate para mag-multiply. So, aside from that, we can also use fish, certainly in the family of Cyprinidae, Cyclinidae, and Ospronemidae. Nga mo-attack sila mga weeds sa mga canals and water tanks. So here in figure 2.5 we have here the larva of Chrysalina which is used para i-control ang weeds. So plant pathogens may be suppressed by the events nga we compete with their limited resources. Some fungi like Trichoderma exhibit mycoparasitism, attacking killing hyphae or other parts of pathogenic fungi. Some fungi express the growth of pathogens by competing them for key resources such as minerals, nutrients, oxygen, or water, either at or away from the site of initial infection.